This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English. Episode number 158, baby. Oh yeah. In today's episode, I speak to Dan the Man. Yes, he is back. And we speak about Brazil. That's right. You know that really, really big country in South America? Brazil. Because after the success of talking about Russia, we have chosen another country. And like the episode about Russia, we have absolutely no idea what we're talking about. So if we get anything wrong, please don't hate us. Just send me a message and we can talk about it. Because remember, I get my information from websites which sometimes I don't think are the most credible. But remember, all of the rock and roll vocabulary is on the website, rockandrollenglish.com, episode 158. So go there and use that. And if you want the transcript to this episode, and if you want a podcast every day with a transcript that you can read on your phone, go to www.rockandrollenglish.com/family. I will stop talking now. I will speak to you again at the end. Oh, and like last week, I know I have that small problem with my voice, with my audio again. I think I've resolved it for next week, so you just have to put up with it for one more week. I'm sure you can. Here is the conversation. Happy listening. Dan the Man, how are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
Always fantastic, Dan. Always fantastic. Although I'm not looking forward to the thing that we're about to do, which is talk about the reviews. Did you hear the review from last week?
Do you know what I was going to say? I want to dedicate this episode to Gla Gla for the wonderful review that I heard. Thank you very much.
I'm still hurting. I've been crying myself to sleep every night since last Monday, but life goes on. So today, though, do you think we have a review?
Yes.
No. I've decided you bring bad luck. You've always brought bad luck in my life. And nothing has changed.
What would you rather? No reviews or more excellent reviews similar to the one by Gla Gla?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think no reviews. No reviews is a better option.
I would love if they came flooding in now.
So some nice rock and roll vocabulary there. Come flooding in, come in huge numbers, these big reviews, which we want, just not about Dan, okay? At least about everyone in the Rock and Roll English team. Anyway, do you know what we're talking about today, Dan?
No.
Of course you don't. We are talking about, following on from the successful episode about Russia. No one got angry. No one told us to fuck off or anything like that. So we're talking about another country that has a large number of downloads. I can't remember the next country now. I don't really look at the statistics. But it is Brazil, baby.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, yeah. Brazil. So even Dan's reaction there, everyone just considers Brazil a cool country, don't they? Myself included.
Well, every Brazilian I've ever met has been really cool as well, so...
Well, I mean, in comparison to you, Dan, everyone is cool, so...
Correct.
You know.
Yeah, no one says that about me.
Yeah. Well, you know that Dan, he's such a cool guy, isn't he?
Yeah. I went to it's like a mini festival, like a street party here a few weeks back.
Even that makes me think, what the hell were you doing even if it's a mini festival, what were you doing there?
This is the thing, it was like a South American sort of festival, and obviously there was everyone there could really dance, and then planted in the middle of it, about a foot taller than everyone else, like a tree, was me.
Just stationary like a tree. So stationary, not moving. Yeah, when you go to those kind of things, it's just like everyone's got that constant dance on, haven't they? Even when they're talking to you, they're dancing, and you think, can you just stay still for 1 minute just so we can have a conversation?
Yeah.
Now that is rock and roll, baby. So yes, we're talking about Brazil, and like usual, I've been to a rubbish website. I typed into Google strange and funny things about Brazil, and voila, here we go. Voila, there's some French there. Hey, Dan.
It's voila.
Oh, thanks for correcting me on my French pronunciation. So, Brazilians apparently love meat. It's actually written love meat. There's always a barbecue, or in Portuguese, I believe it's called a churrasco. There you go. There's my best Portuguese. You're going to correct my Portuguese pronunciation as well, Dan?
No. I think you got it right.
Sure. So as soon as I saw this thing about meat, I thought to myself, Dan, what happened to you being a vegetarian? People, maybe new listeners to the show, may not know this, but in old episodes, Dan told us he was a vegetarian. Then he moved to a semi-vegetarian. And what about now?
No, I was always a semi-vegetarian.
Well, you said you were a full vegetarian.
I was a full vegetarian for about 2 weeks, and then...
That's always you, Dan. You haven't got the commitment to see something through. So to see something through, to basically do it to the end.
The difference is I like to try new things, to dabble in new things, and I tried it for 2 weeks and thought, this isn't for me.
And then, so you moved to semi-vegetarian.
Yeah, when I was in England, I used to eat a disgusting amount of meat, and I don't anymore.
Oh, well, that's good. Doing your bit for the environment. Hey, Dan.
That's right.
Okay, so in Brazil, apparently there's an island that has the largest population of snakes in the world. Apparently, humans cannot even go to this island because it's so dangerous with snakes, and there is a snake every square metre.
Yeah, I saw a documentary on this once. That would be... I don't like snakes.
Again, when I said, everyone sort of considers Brazil cool people, does anyone actually like snakes? Does anyone just sit there and think, you know what, I really want to spend some time today with a snake?
I worked with someone who had a pet snake, and I don't understand that. How can you give your affection to a reptile?
Oh, that is just... That, yeah. Although,
what would you rather? Would you rather have a dog as a pet or a snake?
A snake. Because at least, snakes are quieter, aren't they? The dogs go crazy, they jump, you come in the door, they jump on you. At least a snake is quiet. The snake's doing his stuff, I'm doing my stuff. We live our separate lives. That's what I want from a pet.
Jesus Christ.
Apparently as well, Brazilians pride themselves in sharing their country with a massive number of plants and animals. Now, I've always said how much I want to go to Brazil. It's like my number one country to visit. Although I must admit, reading this about there are lots of animals there, I'm starting to think maybe I will just stay at home.
Why don't you like animals? I don't understand this. I think we need to address this.
You can't trust them, can you? Can't trust them. You don't know what an animal is going to do. Is an animal going to jump on me? I just can't trust them.
It's because they can smell your fear and you stink of it.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. I don't know. I see like a bird and I fucking shit my pants. I think, is the bird going to jump on me? I don't know. I can't trust it. Okay?
But why is this? Why?
I just because they can't talk very well, can they? I can reason with a human. So I can, have a conversation. It's more difficult if you're talking to a snake.
Well, this is your problem. You're talking to snakes.
Maybe. So another one here is that the most common names apparently are Maria and Jose or Jose. I don't know how to pronounce that. Maria is very popular here in Italy as well, Dan, because it's like, Jesus's mum, she was called Maria. So lots of people choose that. And the strange thing I find here is that even men have that name. So it would be like Daniel Maria would be your name.
Really?
Yes, Dan, really. And it got me thinking, if you had to choose a female name, what would it be? So you're changing your name from Dan or Daniel to a female one. What would you choose?
There is absolutely no way I'm answering this question because I know I'll be referred to as this name forevermore. You tell me your name first.
Well, I've obviously already put some thought into this, and I've thought maybe Lara, like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. That's very much me.
You're Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, yeah?
Very similar, very similar.
Yeah, you're right. Can I call you Lara?
You can if you want. We need one for you though, Dan.
I'm going to go with one that's a bit ambiguous. So I'm going to say Sam, because that can be a girl and a boy. So you can't get me on that.
Nice. So ambiguous means like you can have more than one interpretation of that name. I remember when we were in school, Dan, actually, and there was someone in the year above us called Sam going out with a girl called Sam. The Sams.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Okay, another one is that there are 4,000 airports in Brazil. 4,000, which,
It's an enormous country, though, isn't it?
big country, big number, big country. And then apparently another fact I found is that on the 1st of January, 1502, so like 500 years ago, the first official tourist arrived in Brazil. And I immediately thought, how did this work? How did he call himself an official tourist?
Where did he come from?
It doesn't say. I don't know if it was like a package holiday that he got. But he was the first, apparently. He just came there and said, I'm a tourist. And they all said, Oof, wow, you must be the first.
And gave everyone smallpox and exotic diseases.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the next one is, I don't know how to pronounce this again. The caipirinha is a popular cocktail drink, the most popular, apparently. It says you cannot go to Brazil and not have a caipirinha, or yeah, that one.
I'll tell you what, you should learn Portuguese because I think you've got a gift for it.
I would pick it up in no time. So pick it up, basically learn it. What's your favourite cocktail though, Dan? Beer?
Or a Singapore
beer and
slinger.
lemonade.
A shandy, yeah.
A shandy, yeah. Sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
Either a Bloody Mary or a Singapore slinger.
I have absolutely no idea what either of those are. I've heard of a Bloody Mary.
Let me guess what yours is. Sex
Okay.
on the beach or something crap like
You
that.
already knew that, though. You already knew it was sex on the beach. Because I'm sure I've been with you and ordered it. It's very embarrassing when I'm in a bar and then they say, what do you want? And I have to say, sex on the beach. And especially when I'm in Italy.
It's more embarrassing the way you look at the waitress when you say it, because she kind of thinks, are you asking me for sex on the beach or just a cocktail?
Well, if that's on offer as well, if that's included in the price of the drink, then let's go free. Come on. The embarrassing thing, though, is ordering it, especially in Italy, because you have to really, enunciate the words and say, sex on the beach. I had a similar situation to this the other day. I was at my wedding course that I have to go to on a Thursday, and, there are many people there, and the woman that was doing it said to us, what makes you argue, in a couple? And she was kind of looking at me. I was sitting at the front, so I thought, oh fuck, I think I have to answer. So I said Google Maps, which is true because, we will be in the car, I'm driving, Mrs. Rock and Roll English has got Google Maps, and I say, tell me where to go. And then she goes, we were supposed to turn right there. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me? Anyway, so this is what we argue about. So I said Google Maps. The woman looked at me, didn't understand, and then Mrs. Rock and Roll English said Google Maps, and she said and I thought, what the fuck did I just say? How did you not understand that? I said Google Maps.
Yeah, same thing happens here to me. Not when I say Google Maps, but just in general. But
I feel your pain, Dan. Brazilians apparently are always very optimistic, and they always say tomorrow will be a better day than today, which is something I could do with Dan, because the way I look at the future is just, can it get any worse?
I tell you what, when I had to transcribe that week of episodes of you moaning about America, honestly, I actually wanted to kill myself at one point. I thought, he is moaning non-stop.
So remember, moaning is complaining. It's one of my favourite hobbies, Dan. Okay. The next one I particularly like. As I said, it's not the most credible website, but the way it's written is just fantastic. It just says, some of the most beautiful people in the world are Brazilian. Full stop. No. So, okay, well, that's gospel then. Like, when I say that's gospel, that's definitely the truth.
Yeah, that is. What website was that?
Oh, God, I've got no idea. I mean, I have seen many, many beautiful Brazilian people, men and women. But just to say, okay, look, there we go, full stop. Nothing, no reasoning there. No, it's like famous people ever saying it. No studies. Just some of the most beautiful people in the world are Brazilian. Let's move on to the next point.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we're doing, moving on to the next point, which is the currency. So remember, currency is the money they use. Do you know what currency they use in Brazil, Dan?
I don't know. Is it dinar? I don't know.
Well, it says here, which I must admit I've never heard. I don't know if this is right. It's called the Brazilian real.
Real, that's it. Yeah, real.
But that just sounds so ridiculous. Like, it's the real stuff here. Like, we're not using that fake money. This is the real stuff, baby.
Yeah, but they're not saying that in English, are they? That is English arrogance for you there, assuming that real is the English word.
Well, I mean, it must have been translated.
Why?
Well, because Brazilian, I don't think they say Brazilian like we do they?
I don't know. Maybe someone could tell us in a.
This is the perfect example of two idiots trying to talk about something they have absolutely no idea about. Okay, so that is what rock and rolling is all about. The carnival as well in Rio apparently is the biggest party in the world. Again, doesn't have any studies. It sounds a bit like the most beautiful people in the world, but still the biggest party in the world. Would you like to go to that, Dan?
Well, I might be going next year with Mrs. Dan the man to Brazil because we've got friends there, and they want to. Suggested going to the carnival, and that terrifies me a little bit because if I can't handle a small party in Toulouse of people dancing and me looking like a twat.
So yeah, you think that that was just a mini festival in Toulouse. Now you would be going to the biggest party in the world. So you would essentially be the biggest dickhead in the world.
Yeah, I'd make international news. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I would have to try and move my body in a fashion that looks like it's dancing.
Take some dancing lessons, Dan, before, you know. Oh, God, and if you do, please take some pictures for us. Dan the man trying to find some rhythm.
I would actually like to do dancing lessons, to be honest, because it's getting embarrassing now. You know, it's okay when you're a teenager and you're not dancing, but when you're a man and you don't want to go near a dance floor, it's
well, I'm happy to go on a dance floor, as I demonstrated at Corporal Coma's wedding, but I have to be absolutely shit-faced to do it. That's the problem for me. The bit before, I just don't want to know. I will just be very English there, stand by the bar, drink my beer, stay quiet, but then something, just 1 second, boom, one song comes on. If I've had enough drink, then I will not be held responsible for my actions.
Yeah. The perfect song and 7 pints. That's the formula, isn't it?
Exactly. So the last one, we can't obviously talk about Brazil without mentioning the football team. So Brazil's football team is the most successful national team in the world, won the World Cup 5 times, you know, always play good, attractive football. And the thing that they wrote here is that Brazil have never lost a game when Pelé and Garrincha played together. So anyone that doesn't know about football, let me tell you, they played in like the 70s. But I noticed they used the present perfect here. Brazil have never lost a game. Like they're still playing and still winning matches.
How many games did how many games did they play together? Was it like 3?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But they're making out like it's just been going on and on. So when I say they're making out, they're making it seem like it's a record of like 50 years. When really they stopped playing like more than 40 years ago. But it's a good record. Good record.
It's a great record.
Great record. Anyway, I think that's enough about talking about Brazil. We've already looked completely stupid because we had no idea what we were talking about. So that's probably time to call it a day. So call it a day. Say goodbye.
We should do a rock and roll English travel guide to the world, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure that will rival Lonely Planet for detail, especially.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Anyway, we'll see you soon, Dan the Man.
Yeah, I'll speak to you later.
Speak to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so that was Dan the Man and me speaking about Brazil. So let's have a look at some of that rock and roll vocabulary. We had the term flooding in when Dan said, I would love if reviews like that came flooding in now. So to come in big numbers. Then we also had the word stationary when Dan said that he was stationary like a tree. So when you are stationary, you're not moving. It's the opposite of moving, stationary. I also said that he hasn't got the commitment to see things through. I was talking about being a vegetarian. So if you see something through, you do it to the end. I said that I can reason with a human, so I can have a discussion and talk with a human. Dan the Man, when he had to choose a female name, he chose Sam because it's a bit ambiguous, so it can be understood in different ways. It's not clear. I also said that I would pick up Portuguese in no time. So when you pick up something in this context, it is when you learn it. You learn it naturally. You don't have to study. You just learn it naturally. Used a lot for languages. And we had the term moaning. We've had that a lot, haven't we? Everyone that listens to this podcast must know that word, complain. I said I used the term gospel as well when we were talking about, I can't remember what now, but if you say something is gospel, it's definitely the truth. Then we were talking about the football record, and I said they're making out like it's a 50-year record. So they're making it seem like. And then I said it's time to call it a day. So it's time to say goodbye, to stop. And that is exactly what it is. It's time to call it a day. So I will see you all again next week. Remember, the vocabulary is on the website, rockandrollenglish.com. Episode number 158. And if you want a transcript, rockandrollenglish.com/family. Have a great week, people. I will see you next week. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.